Okay guys, so we are less than 24 hours away from Indiana's matchup against Syracuse in the East or Washington D.C. semifinal regional game, and this is going to be the preview. So I'm going to go ahead and go through some of the specifics that I think, about the Indiana-Syracuse game. And I won't make it too complicated. I'll keep it simple. I could really go in detail, but Syracuse is big, athletic, and long, and that's an area of concern for Indiana. Indiana, 4 out of the 5 starters for Syracuse, they're 6'6" and higher, so they are pretty big, long, athletic. Something that worries me with this Indiana team. I mean, facing a team like that, it's just an area of concern. And on top of that, Syracuse has that famous zone defense, okay? And it's a type of defense that Indiana has yet to face all season long. So it's something totally new to this Indiana team. So it's really going to be intriguing or interesting to see how Indiana is able to handle and break the zone of Syracuse, which last year Syracuse was using it, and it just baffled teams. And Jim Boeheim, he does a really good job at mixing things up in that zone defense, and that really confuses. It just keeps the offensive team going up against them second guessing or guessing all the time. And boy, Jim Boeheim does that, and Indiana's really going to have their hands full. So the two things I'm really worried about is, one, Syracuse zone, the infamous zone defense from Syracuse. I'm also really concerned about their size and their length. I mean, they're really long and they're big and they're athletic, and that's an area of concern. I mean, both those areas are pretty big concerns. I know for a fact Tom Crean and the team has been studying film and going over film and setting up that zone and in practice and really doing a good job prepping for the Syracuse zone defense. But practice and game time and an NCAA tournament environment are two separate things, and it's going to be a challenge. It's really going to be a challenge for this Indiana team to be able to solve the Syracuse zone. So that's something you want to look for. Also, hopefully, with this zone defense, Indiana can get some good open looks or shots from the perimeter, something that they didn't do a good job with in Temple. Indiana did not, and Indiana's like a top 5 3-point shooting team. I think they're 5th in the country. And they just weren't able to take advantage of it against Temple. But Temple's defense, like I said after the Temple game, very sort of aggressive, and they did an outstanding job contesting shots from beyond the perimeter and defending the perimeter. They did a really good job. Indiana, with the exception of the Temple game, Indiana has been doing a good job on the offensive glass. Indiana defensively is in the top 20 in the country, doing a pretty good job. To me, you know me, I just don't think they're being assertive enough, aggressive enough. I would love to see them make more big plays defensively and get a lot more aggressive and put a lot more pressure on the basketball, but I don't know, it just hasn't happened all season long, and it may cost Indiana a 6th national championship. Oh well. Another thing Indiana must do is take care of the basketball. Syracuse, with their athleticism and their length and size, they could really get up the floor and get some good easy baskets. You know, when you take on a good team like who's really athletic like Syracuse, that's an issue. So Indiana really has to watch that, and they can't make careless mistakes and throwing the ball oval. They really need to focus on not throwing the ball oval. And also Syracuse is full some turnovers. I don't know the exact stats. I just looked at them, but Syracuse isn't doing too bad. Full some turnovers. So I mean, you know, Indiana has to really watch it. And Syracuse is like 270th in defensive rebounding, and that's awesome. And you know, Indiana has to limit the second chance points from Syracuse. That could be an issue. Really quick, and Temple. I tell you, Indiana gave up a lot of second chance opportunities against Temple. They can't be doing that. They really need to watch second chance points. But this Syracuse team's good. Well, another thing Indiana could do is with this zone defense, if they're having issues with this zone defense, something that Indiana could take advantage of is their tempo, their run and gun philosophy, you know, and take advantage of their transition game. You know, I mean, Indiana, if they could push the ball up the floor, Syracuse won't have enough time to set up the zone defense, and that should make for open looks along the perimeter from the fifth best team, three-point shooting team in the country. Then you also could probably get some good easy layups or looks in the paint close to the basketball goal. So Indiana's transition game is vital, especially if they're having trouble solving that Syracuse zone. You know, I think it's important for Indiana to understand that it's going to be a battle. Go in there with the mentality that they just keep doing what they do, and if they do that, even when the results don't look, you know, that's why you don't concentrate on the results. Even if they're not having success, if they continue to do the things they do and focus on execution, trust that in the end the outcome will more likely be in their favor. And that's something Indiana needs to do. Okay, so another thing I just seen, Syracuse is like fifth in the country with offensive rebounding, I think. If I read it right, that is nuts. And it's understandable. I mean, they have a lot of size and athleticism, and that's what I'm saying. So Indiana really has to limit them second chance opportunities or points. They really do. But anyway, I'm going to pull, like I said, pull areas I'm going to go over, and then the final prediction. Front court, back court, bench coach, intangibles, and then my final prediction. So front court, I'm giving the edge to Indiana. You know, you have preseason player of the year Cody Zell, and Wofford, who has the potential. I'm not saying he does this every game, but I mean he can drive, dunk, he can hit jump shots, and he can hit from the three, from the perimeter, which, like I've been saying all season long, that's crazy. But Syracuse has this guy named Farrell, and C.J. Farrell is averaging 14.5 points per game. They have to watch him. Then the backcourt, I'm going to go with Indiana. Like I said, I think they're 5th in the country in 3-point shooting. And in Syracuse, that's an area where they ain't that good. I mean, they have a very poor shooting team beyond the perimeter. I don't think they're that good. And so Indiana should not have an issue with that, and that's good news. And so they could focus maybe on that size and athleticism up front that Syracuse has. And the bench, I give that to Indiana. I think they have the best 6th man in the country in Sheehy. And, you know, I think they have a couple talented freshmen like Hollowell and Abel. And you know, they have Elston, and I think they have some good quality bench players who can give them good quality minutes. And I just, you know, I think they beat Syracuse. And then coaching, I like Tom Crean. I'm going to have to give that to Jim Boeheim. I'm very worried about Jim Boeheim's in-game adjustments and Tom Crean's lack of in-game adjustments in this game, simply because of that zone defense of Syracuse. I'm very uneasy. I think they can make a lot of slight adjust. I mean, Boeheim, he does. He really does some. I mean, makes some little adjustments here and there on that zone, and that gives opposing teams issues. And so I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But hopefully Indiana can. Tom Crean has to be on his toes, and that coaching staff, I'm telling you, Jim Boeheim, I have the utmost respect for him. And what's cool is I like him too. And what's cool, this is a rematch of the 1987 National Championship game. Okay, then tangibles. I go ahead, I'll talk about how, you know, how, like I said, Indiana can really stretch that defense with Wofford. And you know, Indiana has that experience. Syracuse don't have as much experience. Indiana played in the toughest conference in the country. Syracuse, the Big East ain't as good as the Big Ten. Syracuse is closer to home than Indiana. And, you know, they have a championship coach. Tom Crean don't. My final prediction is this. Well, also, Indiana has Oladipo, Spurwell News National Player of the Year. So they have 2 national, like Wooden Award Players of the Year candidates on this team. Indiana is really versatile what they can do. And you know, it just depends how Indiana handles all this. But anyway, my final prediction. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I could see Indiana winning by 8 to 10 points. I think this Temple game got IU prepared and sharp mentally for this next stretch of the NCAA tournament, and I think that Temple game's really going to help them. So I think it's just they're going to come out sharp. They're going to beat Syracuse. And then Saturday's going to be a dogfight, probably against Miami. But I think this Temple game that they had, I think it really did a lot of good for Indiana. But until tomorrow, good luck IU. Let's go. Let's win the 6th national championship.